Today we're taking a look at the 8bitdo M30 Bluetooth controller, mostly because my original review, I sounded like Eeyore talking to you. So, is it still good in 2024? Let's take a look and find out. So this controller's been around for a few years now. I reviewed this in 2019, but I wanted to redo it because I went back and watched it and I was just bored out of my mind listening to myself, and it was also quite blurry. So anyway, we have a couple minor updates to this controller which are very welcome, and let's go ahead and unbox it. As you can see, thanks to Amazon's wonderful packing, the box got damaged a bit, but whatever. So we open it up. Mine came with this little funky little heart-shaped pixel pin thing, and despite the box being kind of dinged on the outside, the way they packaged this, it doesn't matter. Nothing was damaged inside. So you have this little plastic protector thing molded to the controller. Controller itself, very nice. And then you got the standard manual here in multi-languages, just telling you how to pair it mainly. We will also be taking a short look at this dongle here. This is a Bluetooth receiver for the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive. I won't go too in depth with this, but I'll show you how it works. Being that this controller is Bluetooth, as you can see, it's quite versatile. You can use it on several platforms, including what's on the box. I haven't tried it with PS4 or anything, so your mileage may vary, but I'm not about to regurgitate what it's compatible with. Here you go. What I want to know is, how does it feel in the hand and how does it perform? For starters, this controller is very nicely textured, even more so than the original one I had from 2019, and that's a good thing. It feels like an actual Sega product, even though it isn't. I really love the way this feels. It's kind of like a cross between a Genesis controller and a Saturn controller, sort of. It's got a unique feel, but it's very nice. I don't really know what I prefer. Maybe the Saturn's mold ever so slightly, but this is still a great happy medium. As far as the buttons, they are quite responsive. If you're playing a sheer, you need to be able to rapid fire these. And you can, it's not a problem. Some controllers, like say an Xbox controller, you can't really do that. Just because of how big the button is, how big the membrane is, you kind of end up doing this instead of this. So this takes a lot less effort. This is how it should be, in my opinion. Yeah, rapid fire is just fine. How's the D-pad on this? Here's the depth of it. It feels very precise. It's not too clicky once again, but it's not mushy either. It's just right. I can feel every single input. Very good for quarter circle moves. You're not going to have really any misfires with this. A common problem with D-pads these days on third-party controllers is this pivot point here. You can either press the whole D-pad down, which you can on this, but you're not going to have any accidentals even so. And there's a issue where it'll rock back and forth like this, and it can cause you to actually hit up or down when you don't want to. And that's actually not an issue with this controller. I tested it. Even if I do this, you really have to be deliberate for it to hit up if you're doing this. Unlike the Retrobit controller, which this is raised up quite a bit more, still a very good D-pad. I still like this controller, but you will have accidental diagonals sometimes because look how much that rocks. Like a seesaw. And then back to this. Yeah, it has some rock to it, but it's not enough for it to be a problem. And then comparing it to the OG Genesis controller, this one feels a little bit more mushy than the 8bitdo, so I actually prefer the 8bitdo in this case. This is still a good controller, still a good D-pad. I'm sure this is probably due to years of use, almost a 40-year-old controller now probably. But yeah, this is still pretty good, but I actually prefer this. This is just a little bit nicer. Same with the Saturn controller. This one feels a little bit better than my Genesis controller, but it's still not as good as this. And there's a comparison with the depth of the D-pad. Same with this. Genesis controller is a little bit more shallow. I would say as far as the D-pad is concerned, the way it feels in your hand when you're using it, it feels like a cross between these two controllers, the original Genesis controller and the Saturn controller. It's textured and has a very nice matte finish, just like the Genesis controller, but it's got the precision of the Saturn controller. These are about as precise as each other. This one slightly more so, and this one slightly more than this. Here's another shot for comparison's sake, the back of each one of these. As you can see, this 8bitdo controller here is pretty much like a cross once again between the Saturn and the Genesis controller. It's very nice in the hand. Another question you might be asking is, how is the range? Will this stretch across my living room? Yes. I'm in an apartment, but I was able to pair this, go to the completely opposite side of my apartment, and start hitting buttons with this, and I could still hear my game responding from in here. So that's basically the opposite side of the apartment, so range is not an issue here. It is also very easy to pair. I'll show you how easy it is here in just a minute. Also, is there input lag? Not that I can see. Every wireless device will have a little bit of input lag, but it is imperceivable on this. Both on an LCD monitor, on my CRT, doesn't matter. If I hit this, it responds immediately. Also, according to this manual, this has a built-in turbo function. I did not know that. You just hold a button, hit start, and you're good. Do it again, and it turns back off. And then the battery is a 480 milliamp battery with about 18 hours of playtime, chargeable via USB, 1-2 hours of charging time. Pairing this up is pretty straightforward. I'm not about to show you every platform, but here's Windows. All you do is just hold X and hit start. You're going to see two LEDs blinking. There's a pair button up here. You hold that down for a couple seconds. They're going to pause and then start strobing. Then you just go to add device on your Bluetooth settings. Bluetooth, it's going to find it pretty much immediately. You click that, and there you go. It's paired. Alright, let's play some games. First, I'm just going to show you how it performs as far as input latency. There's really no perceivable latency that I'm feeling, at least. So if I hit the directional button, as you can see, it responds right away. And to put it into perspective too, my Bluetooth antenna is right beside a big ass speaker, but it's still not a problem. And the issue I was talking about with having accidental diagonals because of the pivot point, like this here rocking back and forth, it's still on the 8bitdo, but you really have to be deliberate for it. Like if I'm just playing, I'm not really having an issue with going diagonally. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about the focus. This camera sucks. As you can see, no problem with quarter circles. Here's just more quarter circles. Not a problem. What about charge characters? Good here. As you can see, I'm not accidentally doing any diagonals.
Fight.
So Mortal Kombat responds differently from Street Fighter, of course. So here's that. Here's Shang Tsung. Good there. Let's do your quarter circles. Not a problem. Yeah, no issues there. Let's try Baraka.
Victory.
Or maybe Scorpion. Let's try Scorpion.
Fight.
Baraka. Yep, good there.
Finish him.
Yeah. Missed the fatality, but whatever.
Flawless victory.
Alright, here's MK3. Not having any issues here. Here's some Metal Slug to demonstrate the rapid fire. Good deal. Or if I want to have turbo, hold the star, hit A. There we go. If I want to turn it off, hold it A, just hit it again. I love me some Metal Slug. Oh, shit. Okay, let's move over to the Genesis. So up here you just hold this button on the front of the dongle. You turn your controller on and hold that pairing button up here down. And here in just a sec it should pair and go solid. And there it is. And as you can see with the controller we just paired, just fine. They're on fire. I need to do something about that. There. We haven't tried a spaceship shooter yet, so let's do one that I'm terrible at. Truxton. Again, very precise. No issue here. No input latency at all. As you can see, instant. And then of course, turbo works on this too with the dongle. Whoops. Yeah, that's Truxton. The last thing I want to touch on is the actual build quality. This is a very premium feeling controller. Feels every bit as good as the official Sega ones. Definitely better than the Retrobit controllers. I love these controllers, they're great, but compared to this feels a little chintzy to me. The membranes, the materials, the plastics, everything, this just feels a bit lower grade. This does not feel like it's going to eventually break on you. So that is the 8bitdo M30 controller. Is it still worth it in 2024? I think so. If you like Sega Genesis or you just want a good fighting pad for arcade games, fighting games, whatever, this is excellent. Has a premium feel, extremely comfortable, very responsive buttons, seamless pairing up once you actually figure out the friggin' button combinations like X and start or Y and start. That's the only critique I have about this is I wish they would put like a dip switch either right here or maybe on the back somewhere so you could just flip between switch mode, D input, X input, that kind of thing. But besides that, I love this controller. It is actually my favorite D-pad on a controller now that I own. And until next time, thanks for watching. Hope it was informative and somewhat entertaining. And I'm going back to playing some games. Horns up.